So what I did want to mention was that since the last time, I've gotten a lot of calls from SCORE mentors about co-counseling with them on clients that needed websites. It's been working great. And what I've been trying to do is the first thing I do is I assign homework. So we say to the client, before we do anything, before we sit down and say, you've got to come up with 10 websites, and you've got to take the links from them and put them on an email, 10 websites that you like, and write down a narrative of what you love about them, what you hate. And it can just be in note form, doesn't have to be anything formal, because it's really for them. And then they have to write a narrative about what they want the website to do. So if you get any clients that are asking about a website, and all of them should have one, then these are the first assignments that they need to have. And they have to do it. So this way it'll kind of get it further on. Like, I've talked to clients already that thought they wanted to do e-commerce, and then when I talked a little further with them, they really didn't want to do e-commerce. They wanted to do something else. So it kind of changed the whole nature of their business when we sat down, we kind of drilled down into what they really wanted to do. So there's that. I'm trying to read my notes here. Yeah, the final point I want to make before I start boring you is that SCORE is just like any other business. When you look at SCORE, our numbers, our metrics have been going down, and you know, I hate to say it, and I told you so, but I told you so, because we have really a kind of a non-functional web presence. And the central point I'm making is you can't have a business, whether you're selling a product or services, that doesn't have a window to the world. And I'll go over one I'm going to review a little bit, but basically we don't have one. So we're building a website now, we're building a Google advertising campaign. Our web links, everything on the new website are going to start from zero. So we're really kind of going to have to build the whole thing back up. But look at us in terms of how any of your clients really have to operate, is that if they have a non-functional website, then they're really kind of behind things. So if you could look at SCORE, and then I guess it kind of helps me make my point. So here's a review, okay? The internet has overtaken all previous forms of business marketing. And this is basically in the last 15 to 20 years. That's what I call the Stone Age to today. So it's all these items: literature, trade shows, direct mail, newspaper, face-to-face. It's just, they're all just falling down. They don't not exist anymore. They're just on the decline, or they're mature. For instance, when you want literature, and you see a product you want on the web, you go to a website, what do? You download the literature. You look at the literature. This way the manufacturer doesn't have to pay for the paper, the ink, the postage, you talking to somebody, all the stuff that gets involved in getting you information. Now they get the information themselves, they print it from their own printer. So you're saving all that money, the creative work, the paper and ink, the post, everything. It's just it's a net save, because you get your information right away, and the owner of the business doesn't really have to pay anything except getting it up on the web and their monthly fees. So this is something you need to keep in mind when you're counseling. Just remember, everything we're talking about is in relation to your clients and what you need to be telling them. And this is setting the stage for why you need a website. So we talked about trade shows. I'm sure all of you have been to trade shows. They're getting further and farther in between. They're combining trade shows with a couple different ones. A trade show that used to fill 3 buildings in San Diego now fills 1, maybe. So it's all the factors involved, which is people that actually get on a plane or a bus or a car, and they go to this convention hall, and they walk down these aisles, and they look at all this new stuff, and they just don't have to do it anymore. If you want something, you just go on Google and type in whatever it is you're looking for. So if you want to find the new stuff is up there. So this is one of the things that's contributing to the decline of the old media. Uh-oh. Direct mail, again, the junk in your mailbox, generally 95% of it, you throw it out. The reason for that is because it's not timely. The problem with advertising in general is this, is that, say someone does an ad in a magazine or a newspaper for something, a basketball. and you're not really in the market for basketball, so you look like, yeah, great, and you just kind of scan right past it. In 6 weeks, your kid or your nephew or somebody might want a basketball. So you weren't interested in the basketball 6 weeks ago, but you're interested in it now. But the ad's not here, the ad's gone. The ad's, the recycler's got the ad. So what you do is say, oh, I'll go on Google and I'll type it to see where I can get a basketball. And he wants an NBA one, so you can type in basketball, NBA, cheap. And boom, it all comes up on Google. You want to buy one, you want reviews on them. All this information comes up. So when you think about the whole concept of advertising, it's really kind of to jog your memory. And the more you do it, the more it sticks. But in the new age, it just doesn't work. Because people, as we say in the web business, people have the memories of gerbils today. So nobody remembers anything. People they flip past stuff, because there's so much information, we're just dealing with so many things flying at us all the time, we forget stuff. Plus we're all over 50, most of us, are over 50, and we just forget stuff. So this is why the web is so important. This is what you have to keep in mind, again, about any form of advertising. Because if you're not in the market right then when they see the ad, it's useless. Same with newspapers, magazines. They're expensive, limited coverage. They don't do the trick. Some products you have to advertise. Some things that people use every day. Clothing, food, stuff that people use all the time. That might be applicable for a local paper for doing advertising. But aside from that, it's getting passé. Face-to-face, the same thing. You can't get appointments. No one wants to see you. It's really expensive. McGraw-Hill used to say it costs $200 to do a sales call face-to-face. Now it's probably more like $1,000. And no one wants to see you. That's the whole thing. It's like, yeah, great. Send me a link and I'll check it out. We all know this is true. The other point I was trying to make is that use of the web is completely pervasive throughout the United States and the rest of the world. 80% of the people in the United States have a computer. 75% of them are on the internet. This is from the U.S. Census Bureau. So I'm just not pulling this out of somewhere. These are real facts. So basically, everybody out there, even my 88-year-old mother, who I taught how to use a computer, is on the web. So this is where we have to be. If we have a business, we have to be in the web. Conclusion. You can read it, but basically, it's our job to make sure that, number one, our clients are cognizant of the fact that they need a website, and number two, we talk about it so they find out, because this is really all about the structure of their business. It's like I said, when I said, okay, I want them to sit down and write me a narrative on what this website's going to do, it's almost like doing a business plan, because they're forced to think, well, okay, do I want to sell my consulting services? Do I want to sell stuff? What do I want to do? And this basically kind of forces them to be more specific. And I know when a lot of customers walk into SCORE, they have kind of a good idea what they want to do with their business, but they don't have a great idea. Or if they do have an idea, it's not such a great idea. So it's really us to kind of funnel all of our clients in a specific direction. That's what we do. We just get them thinking about this. And that's what the website's all about, is that, okay, you're going to spend this money on this public billboard, and we're going to get it up there, and we're going to advertise, and we're going to spend money, so what do you want to tell everybody? And you only get one shot. Because just keep in mind the comment about people having memories like gerbils. They do. They just go on it and they say, oh, I don't like this website, or it's got ugly colors, or I don't like the pictures, or I don't like the typeset, or a million reasons, and they do what's called bouncing. This is something that you should all know. When they talk about web statistics, they talk about the bounce rate of a website. It means how many people go on your website, stay there for 5 seconds, and leave. So it's boom, gone out. You've totally lost them. You don't get a second chance. So if you've got a high bounce rate, it means that you've got some fundamental problems with your website. So what you need to do from the beginning is design the thing so you're doing exactly what you want to do. This is what I want to tell everybody. These are the products I want to show. These are the services I'm selling. Whatever they are, get it out there. And we all know what an elevator pitch is. This is a digital elevator pitch. You want to get them on the site. For instance, we're doing the SCORE website right now. So we've got to say in a paragraph, or basically 16 words, who's SCORE, what do we do, why should you hit this big button that says go to mentoring? And everybody's got to sell it. You don't sell it, they're not going to go into the website, they're just going to disappear. And that's really your chance. So just like we're no different than any other organization or company, is that we've got to get their attention, we've got to get them to want to go inside this thing to see what it's all about. So that brings us to the different type websites: informational, academic, e-commerce portal. Informational is just somebody's got the urge to, be a public servant and put up stuff like why you shouldn't drink the water in San Diego. And they've got all these scientific articles and white papers, and after you read it, you want to vomit, basically, and not drink any water around here. So that's an informational website. Academic is where people are posting papers. They're doctoral candidates, they're writing their master's thesis. They want to put something out there and see if it gets any traction. And a lot of times the search engines work where they'll take the content in a thesis because it's so specific for that particular subject, and they'll generally get picked up in fairly high in the search results. So because if you're talking about squirrels in the wild, which, by the way, one of my son's friends, she's doing her doctoral research at Berkeley on the mating habits of squirrels. And she goes in the woods for about 6 weeks every summer, and she watches squirrels. Don't ask me. But anyway, she's going to publish, and she's going to put, and basically if you type in, tell me about the mating habits of squirrels, boom, her thesis is going to come right up. So she'll get pinged, she'll see how many people are really interested in the subject, which is probably about 7 people in North America. But that's how the whole search thing works, just so you know. And then there's e-commerce, which is my favorite, because that's selling stuff. So how you sell stuff on the web, it's like retail, only it's not. It's putting everything up there, putting a nice picture, having a really good story, having good descriptions, specifications, PDFs that they can drop down about detailed specs if there are any. But it's having enough information, having so it's not stupidly laid out, so people go, where do I find this and where do I find that? Everything's got to be coherent. Everything's got to be in very, very nice order. And this is what a good website looks like, is that you can find everything, and my business rule is 2 or 3 clicks tops. So from that Google ad, you should go no more than 2 or 3 clicks to get anywhere on that website. And if you have to do any more than that, for instance, some big companies, government websites, which are the worst, you go into it, it's 18 clicks that go where you want. And come on, this is where this whole attention span comes in. People just lose it. They're like, I'm just not going to bother with this. And the reason you have the website is so people don't call you, that they read everything on the internet, and they say, well, gee, I'm going to buy this stuff on your website. So you don't need all these people inside. You can reduce your head count. Your logistics are a lot smoother. You get these orders in, you just fill the orders. So you don't need a lot of CSRs and people to sit on the phone and take orders. Basically, the website is a portal to automating your business. Now, any questions, just pop your head up and let me know. Yes?
Our new website, what would you consider it? E-commerce informational or?
Service.
Service.
We're basically selling a service that we give away this consulting. We've 80 of these beautiful, brilliant consultants here who you can pick through, and you can see their qualifications. You can do a drop down and see what how the search is going to work for the mentors will be. There'll be a drop down with the 27 categories we have, and you can pick, say, restaurant management. If you click on that, then the 3 people here who do restaurant management will come up. And you can pick their bios. You think they're good looking, like if I saw Jack, your picture? Yes, Elias, also. If you're good looking, yes.
What are the metrics are you going to use to ensure that the website is a success?
A success? I can't guarantee. I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, you can do as good a job on it as possible and obey the principles that you know to be true in web design.
When you're selling a product that you sold in Vermont, you could use the metrics to increase sales.
Okay, so what do you mean?
He was asking what metrics are you going to use?
We have it
Well,
on
the
that.
basic metrics are how many people are coming walking through the door, how are our workshops doing. It's all the metrics that we're judged on all the time by National. So we also talk about building a website, such as GoDaddy.com. It's really easy. So when you've got your client and you find out what they want to do with the website and where they want to go, then we take them on a very easy, basic website. Like GoDaddy, you can just go to Google and type in, I want to build a website. And all these links will come up. So you find someone that you want to work with. They're all absolutely stupid-proof websites. In a day, you can have a very functional website that gets you up and running. And when you're down the road with your business and you're a little bit more sophisticated, then you go to developer and develop something that's more precisely fit to your business. But this is a great way to get somebody up and going really fast, right away. This is what we want them to do. Yes?
Just a note of caution. When I started my business, I went to SBDC East County, and somehow they were offering a free hosting, and I took it because I knew nothing about web design. It was a total horror. I think either the SBDC or the SBA contracted with a German company, and they gave away for free a week for the first year. And
Buyer beware, Kivat Emptor.
right. And I couldn't get out of it. It was a real hassle. So that's a warning for new businesses when they go to other agencies and they get this free thing for a year.
Well, that's why I suggest go to someone like GoDaddy, really established. If you go on the web, you go to a web portal and say, give me the top 10 web building websites. Then the top 10 that come up, I mean, there's tens of thousands of these companies to sort through. So the best ones are going to come to the top. And you can also do web reviews. You can say, is GoDaddy any good? And then you'll get, a million reviews on it. So there's ways to check all of this stuff out, up and down. Although to trust the public on their views on anything is a little doubtful. But you can get a lot of information that way. So one of the things we're going to talk about is setting up a Google advertising campaign. Knowing the difference that the natural listings you get on Google are basically just what comes up based on the search. And I'm going to flip over to Google right now, and I'm going to show you some of this. So someone name a product. Anybody? Brooke, name a product for me.
Tires.
Drinking water? Tires?
Shoes.
Shoes. Shoes, okay.
Volkswagen diesel cars.
You can get them really cheap, I hear. Okay, shoes. So there you go. These are, see where it says right here, I'm going to use my magic pointer. So that says ad. Ad means that they paid to be there. Now the reason they got this #1 position is a combination of forces. One of it's they're paying more than anybody else. But second is how much Google loves their website. Do they have a lot of inbound and outbound links? Is the website, has it got a lot to do with shoes, which is the topic? So Google goes through this evaluation scheme constantly, instantaneously, every time you do a search. So it says, okay, Zappos #1, Just Fab, women's shoes #2, and that's it for ads. And then you've got designer shoes for less. Now I could change this term for shoes. I could say type in men's shoes, and something entirely different will come up. And it's an entirely different set of criteria that Google uses to judge all this. So you have to understand there's a lot of math going on behind all this search. It's constantly searching through everything. Google's got some really hot computers. And that's all they're doing is they're just crunching numbers constantly to get you your results about where to buy your shoes. So that is a paid ad. And down here, this is an ad called shoes.com, which is called a natural listing. Now the natural listings basically are there just because they're better as judged by Google than every other website. And then they're ranked 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all based on content, and again, the inbound, outbound links, whether you have a mobile site. There's a lot of different criteria. You don't have to know any of this stuff, but you should know about it. And so that's how you get to be high in the natural listings. So being your clients all probably are new businesses, and they're pretty small. If they're in a pretty wide business, that there's a lot of players, that means they're going to be really, really low. They're going to be probably website number 950,000. Okay, if they want to get better coverage in that, this is what I said last week about if you build it, they won't come. If you build a website, they won't necessarily come to your website because they won't know how to find you because you're buried so deep in the bowels of Google. So what you have to do is you have to do paid advertising. This is pay for click, pay per click. So you basically go on Google AdWords, and I'm going to show you this at the end of this little lecture series. You basically just go in Google AdWords, and you bid on a word. You pop in a word there, and you say, okay, I'm going to bid on this. I want it to be, I'm going to run the ad in San Diego County, and here's the term. And here's all the terms I want to run for what I have. And then basically Google will run through it and say, okay, it costs $2 a click. This one costs 75 cents. This one is $20. Whatever it is. It depends on supply and demand and what Google feels like they can charge you for it, basically. And you can also bid on it. So if you bid higher on this particular word, then you're going to get higher placement. So this is basically a pay-as-you-go program. Does everybody get that, how it works? And then you can be booted out in a minute. Say Ed has a company and he bids $5 a word. And I say, well, I'm going to get him out of there, so I'll bid $5.50 a word. So Ed's now number 2 or 3, and I'm number 1. And Ed can say, well, screw him. I'm going to be number 1, so he bids $8. And there's bidding wars on it. It's amazing what happens. But the number 1 position gets 40% more hits than any other in a search bar. So you should know that. This is why your clients have to advertise. Yes?
So if you can identify who's a company to be in the number 1 position?
No. They won't tell you that, but what they will do is say, you know, we're happy to take as much money as you want to give us. But they won't tell you, like, this guy's there at $7.75 and he's in there at $9. You need to figure that out for yourself. Yes, John?
If I type in San Diego.score.org in Google and hit search, I'll get both our standard listing down to number 3 on your list, but I also get an ad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if somebody knows about us and types in our address and goes to it, if they type the ad, it costs us money. If they hit the other one, it does not. Is that how it works? Yes.
Yeah, but it's a so what? Who cares?
It's just not enough money?
No, it doesn't matter. What Google does is Google, for instance, when we're doing our workshop on restaurant management, let's pick on the restaurants. So I'm going to sit here and say, okay, if I'm going to go into Google, what words am I going to type in to get people to go to a workshop on restaurant management? So I come up with managing a restaurant, managing your restaurant. And I come up with a list of 10 different words. I do a bid on each one of those words.
Yeah, I understand that.
So, but what I'm saying is that to take it one step further, what Google does, they have a tool that will automatically generate as many more synonyms, like, as, typos, plurals, as you want. So from your 10 words, you can maybe get 50. And the thing is, you do a bid on all 50, it doesn't matter, because you don't pay unless someone clicks on it.
But my question is that I actually typed in the URL for our place.
Right.
And I got both the ad and the...
Well, let's do it.
All right.
So back to our little presentation here. So you create this Google AdWord campaign for every subject it is. So for us, it would be every workshop, mentoring, volunteering, executive forum. And then what happens when someone clicks on your ad, you design it so what they have what's called a link. So it takes you from that ad to what's called a landing page in your website. So we're going to go from that ad, again, restaurant management. It's going to go from the ad to the sign-in page or the description for our workshop on restaurant management. If someone clicks on the ad we have for mentoring, it's going to go right to the page, the home page we have for mentoring. And there they're going to read all about SCORE, what we are and what we do, and then we try to get them to sign up. So this is part of that whole 2-3 click rule, is that they go from the ad right to a landing page in the website. What's really interesting, and I'm going to show you this if I have time, is that Google Analytics basically is it's kind of a snapshot analysis of your website, and I've got the score.org website, and probably it's more than a third of the people that go to our website are you guys. So the people, it's about 1,400 people a month visits from members going in there, out of probably about 4,500 actual hits on the website. So that tells me we kind of have a problem, because a third of the people going in our website are us. So we'd rather it be someone else. And also they're all going to the home page, which isn't good. We want them to go basically to the page that they want to go, so they don't have to go to the home page and figure out how to navigate. So again, a review, why do Google advertising? The natural listings are unpredictable. The paid advertising assures you your position, unless of course you get in the bidding war, then you've got a little problem, but that doesn't happen often. You can target your potential audience. The biggest deal in marketing really is called targeting. And it's targeting who's your customer. If you're buying shoes, right, who's your customers? Everybody. Everybody buys shoes. If you're selling what my company does, I'm looking for people who want to buy a pressure calibrator. Well, the audience is a lot more limited. So what I want to do is I want to develop search terms that lead me to people who are going to use pressure calibrators, because I'm not going to send my ad to somebody who wants to buy shoes, because that's just how it works. On the other hand, when you do advertising for shoes, as Elias will tell you, it's really expensive, because to get in the top position, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people selling shoes. There's not that many people selling pressure calibrators. So everybody clear on how that works? It's all simple economics, basically. So I'm running out of time in a couple minutes, but I'm going to talk about Google Analytics again. You can read the description there, but basically what it tells you is how healthy your website is. And what you can do on it is you can compare your performance on the website to how it was, say, this month versus last month, this month versus last year. How many hits, how many page views, how long people stayed on your website, what your bounce rate is. And there are certain ranges for each one of these pieces of statistical data that tell you whether you're doing a good job or a rotten job. And you've got to read Google Analytics all the time to know how you're doing. You need to look at your AdWord campaigns constantly to know, how am I doing? Is this word polling? If this word's doing 0, get rid of it. So this is website administration. Running a website, it's a very active kind of thing. You can't just put it up there and, again, hope that if you build it, they'll come, because they won't. So you've got to stay on top of it, tweak, trim. And again, this is all stuff that you need to push to your customers. I was going to take you through analytics, but I think you'd rather hear our next speaker. So basically, I can help your customers get up on all this, so they can get this tool, so they can have the information that's available to them to find out how are they doing. And they don't need to hire somebody, because Google sends this data. They have analytics on every website existing. So every website out there has these performance data numbers out there. So are there any questions? Jack?
You mentioned that a third of the visits are from us. I assume that when we go into the main page and then go into the Time Trader core, that we're leaving our website. Is that correct?
Well, yes and no, because there's a link inside our website to the core website.
Yeah, but I guess in summary then, every time we enter a client, or every time the homeroom makes a schedule, or every time we schedule ourselves, we're having hits on it. Is there anything that we're doing as counselors that's costing ourselves money by using the system that way? I mean, should there be some other way for us to get into Time Trade, or
No,
it's just no negative, it just shows up?
It doesn't really matter, because you can see what analytics also gives you is the source for every person that comes on your website.
Okay.
So if you could see that these particular group of people logged onto the core website from our website, so you basically just subtract that number from all your other numbers.
Financial, then?
No, it's nothing. It's just a stat. You can actually automatically wipe that out too. So, yes?
Just out of curiosity, the third, 33%, that a made up number? Because I don't see any possible.
No, it's not.
How can you possibly tell? And if you could tell, why aren't you filtering it out? Because I think the only way you can filter with Google Analytics is by the.
Well, Dan, this is on the old website. I didn't even bother with the old website.
I'm just curious what the number is.
It basically, these are people that came onto the SCORE website that went on to log into CORE.
I mean, how would you know it's me or somebody from outside the building?
Well, because unless you have a password, you're not gonna, it's a private website. So you can't get in.
I follow the website, the first way I come to it, it's like, I don't go to my put a password, I just go right to the main page.
Right, but what I'm saying is that the website that the members go into is a password-protected website.
Not always.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I don't. A lot of times I'll go to the main page. I mean, how do you filter out that?
Well, because
Now I understand. How you
supposedly, if
now
you
know
check
how
it.
I do because you're using the password.
Right.
So that was really my question.
So basically, when you go on that website,
I understand.
you blip out, you're gone.
That-
It's just like you've gone, you've left the website. So that's how that one works. And just so all you know, that basically all the links, everything we've got on our present website are all going to be preserved, all the documents. We're not going to lose a thing. And before we make it go live, we're going to show it to everybody and let everybody have a go at it and tear it apart if they feel like doing that. So we've also got a committee with Inside SCORE that is helping me, doing the reviews, doing text, aiding on the construction, figuring out what goes where. So I'm not just dreaming this up in my basement. So I hope you're all confident. So we're going to take like